So we have Manu Prakash with us, and we came to this place which is in Mumbai, and we saw flamingos and other things. So I wanted to talk to him about it. So hi Manu.
Hi, Rafikh. First of all, I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah.
You can see we're all colored because we just had the most fantastic Holi on the Tata Institute of Social Sciences campus. And as we always do, Rafikh and I and many of the students, whenever we have time, we go on a nature walk. And so you can see around us, we ended up in a phenomenal bird sanctuary right outside Bombay. We ended up seeing something that I was not expecting. You know, when you told me, oh, let's go see flamingos, I thought, oh, maybe I will see 1 or 2 flamingos. Maybe we'll see 5, 10 flamingos. We saw the largest collection of a sea of flamingos. Yes, we saw a sea of flamingos. It's the most beautiful sight. I've never seen that many flamingos around. And it happens to be on this migration route. Incredible number of bird species right outside the city. You know, it reminded me of the fact that India has so much to offer sometimes. Right outside the most bustling city, with all people migrating to this city, flamingos do the same, you know, arriving here for opportunity. And there was a moment you could see, as far as your eye can go, there was a tiny line of pink, as if somebody had sketched that line.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Every one of them just incredibly beautiful. And then there was a moment we saw a flock.
Yeah.
There was a massive flock flying towards our boat. And yeah, I don't know. It's a very emotional thing to see.
Yeah. And while doing that, we also, like we always do, we took some water samples.
Yeah.
We took mud samples. So would you like to also tell us what did we see in that?
Yeah, you know, I think one thing, we were having a conversation with our boat driver. He lives right here. He's all his life just really passionate about the birds that are here, and he taught us a lot about many of the bird species. And then he casually said, oh, you know, all these birds eat the algae. So on the spot, of course, knowing Rafikh and I, we wanted to see what algae. We pulled out some water, we pulled out a full scope, and of course we could see all the diatom species. We saw Chaetoceros, very recently we saw Cylindritheca. Tons of diatom, just absolutely filled.
So diatoms are?
Diatoms are essentially at the bottom of the food web in plankton. Diatom implies 2 atoms. So it's a cell that appears as if 2 atoms have joined together. It's made out of glass.
They are really tiny.
They're really tiny, but it's the first house of glass. So in Mumbai, you might have seen lots of houses now, fancy houses made of glass, and people think these, you know, massive skyscrapers made out of glass, and they think they've built it first. Diatoms made houses of glass long time ago. They live in glass houses. So shishe ka ghar. It's the first organism that figured out how to really manipulate glass. And they're some of the most beautiful creatures, just absolutely intricate bodies. Many of the species we saw were both pelagic, which is that they float in the water. We saw benthic species. And we also just saw an incredible amount of flamingos eating and filter feeding through. And you know, the reality which then we were talking about, which you can see right behind me, you know, if you come a little bit closer, just look at this landscape. You know, some of you will see the most beautiful landscapes, and some of you will see the reality, which is just an incredible amount of plastic. Every plant, every little nook and cranny of mangrove you can see is covered with plastic. And so, you know, we've found something, just, we have the most beautiful treasures. And it's very ironic that the flamingos haven't decided this is enough. Maybe we go someplace else. While at that same time, we have trashed the whole place. It's completely covered with plastic. And
in fact, in the water sample we took, the first thing we saw
the first thing we saw, even before the diatoms, was microplastic. And you know, I know many of you would care about the flamingos of Bombay. You know, this is an iconic place. But unless we can solve problems like this, which are created by us, all of us throw things around. This is not as easy to clean as if you were cleaning the beaches, which is remarkable what has happened in Bombay over time. We can't just go and clean an incredible estuary, because yes, even walking around here would actually damage this ecosystem. And these mangroves are a remarkable ecosystem. They support tons of species. Right around me are jackals walking around.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of species of birds.
Yeah.
But what do we offer them? We offer them plastic.
Yeah.
This
And
is
this
not
would affect,
reversible.
This would affect them, right?
Yeah, no, I think they're filter feeders.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happens, filter feeder implies species that take water and filter out tiny little things and just eat what's in the water. They don't choose what to eat.
Yeah.
So it's not as if they can make a decision around what to eat. So if the water is just filled with plastic, you have
They are
no
going to
choice.
eat it.
They're going to eat it. And then effectively, we end up offering them just the worst that we have to offer.
Yeah.
And ironically, it's not as if these birds are everywhere or these sets of species. These are iconic species. And we are so lucky to have them in our backyard.
And we get excited every time they come.
Yeah.
But if we keep it like this, we don't know.
I don't think they would show up.
Yeah.
Imagine a guest that you invite to your house
Yeah.
and you feed them plastic.
Yeah.
Do you think the guest is going to show up next time?
Yeah.
And, beauty in nature touches our hearts in so many ways. But unless we also see the ugliness of what we have done to this beauty and what we have done to this nature, it's not as if these species are asking for everything.
Yeah.
They're already relegated in a tiny little corner of our country. At this point, all of the nature reserves keep shrinking and shrinking. These are tiny little spots. So unless we take action, there's nothing to do with, from the top. These are citizens. We are making this happen. So as individuals, if you care about some of the most pristine biodiversity that we're gifted with, we have to care about how to preserve these environments.
So what can we do? Like
I think plastics is a global challenge. There is a lot of work that's happening. But effectively, just behavior matters.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to rally the troops around. We have to rally support to be able to clean up places like this. And it's doable,
Like you mentioned also, it's very sensitive to clean such places. Like, it's not as easy as cleaning a beach.
It's not as trivial as cleaning. So the first thing we can do is block this plastic from coming. Wherever the sets of sewages are, where are the sets of water that comes in, you have to block for not more plastic coming in. And then it does require a lot of effort. But at the end of the day, it's critical for many of these ecosystems. And, often enough, when the task is hard, that's exactly when we should rally around it. It's not, everything is not easy.
Yeah.
But, you look around Mumbai, there's a lot of things that you guys have done that was not easy.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
Why can't we rally around? And at the end of the day, the microscopic world is deeply connected to the macroscopic world.
Yeah.
And so, every
in
one of
that
us.
little mud we took,
Yeah.
we saw so much,
much
life.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, just like the flamingos.
Yeah.
Just like the flamingos lining up with this tiny little pink.
Exactly.
You have all of these diatoms lining up in the line of green.
Yeah.
And that's what supports
And supporting
the flamingos.
that population of flamingos.
Yeah. So there's a lot of similarities between the small scale and the large scale.
Yeah. And we have to say they both.
Yeah, they
are
depend on
connected,
each other.
Yeah.
They both depend on each other. It's a phenomenal example of caring about the small allows you to understand what's happening at the large scale.
Yeah.
But if we continue, we have a couple more years, we continue like this, and you end up seeing the future. You can see the future right now.
Yeah.
In this little picture, you can see the future.
Yeah.
Either the people that are watching, you might see a pristine ecosystem and you can make it that way. Or many of you are seeing essentially the trash can of Mumbai and we can make it that way. It's our choice. In many ways, it's a choice. And the current gives us a little bit of a hint of what is coming.
Yeah.
And it was so ironic to see both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
You see incredible beauty,
Yeah.
and you see trash and plastic just interwoven in a way that I just cannot now remove one or the other. We were seeing plastic bellies hanging as far as you can see.
Everywhere.
Just because when the water comes up,
they are so wide that sometimes you miss the birds. Right? Everywhere.
That's true. They are so white that you miss the birds.
Yeah.
Because you think that, oh, I just saw a bird, but you just saw a plastic thali.
Yeah.
And then once a while, these birds are very kind to us. They will come out and still stay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think one thread that I would love for us to come is the next time you come down here, take a look at this. And what has happened in Mumbai over the last couple of years has been remarkable. So why can't we do it for this place?
Yeah.